Hey everyone, I'm just about done with collections. It's 11 minutes after 11. I did talk to the rental claim Allstate adjuster, explained to her everything. I said, she goes, well, we both agree that there is discrepancies in the dollar amount. I said, exactly. I said, because the fact is I was paid incorrectly for the rental claim. I said, are you guys going to do something about it? I said, because you guys still owe me over $10,000. Well, we're going to try to make it as easy on you as possible. I said, no, you aren't. I said, you guys are trying to screw me. And she goes, no, we aren't. And I said, yeah, you are. And I explained to her. I said, better yet, I said, keep the remaining balance. I said, I'll just pay out of pocket for the rest of the stuff that I lost. I said, which is another $14,000. I said, I can come up with it somehow. No, you don't need to do that. And I said, well, that's what it's going to come down to. I said, because you guys are trying to figure out how to not pay the rest. I said, the fact is, I said, I lost everything in a house fire. I said, and then you guys are fighting with me about submitting the receipts. And I said, now you have to audit the claim list of everything that was destroyed in the fire to see if you paid me the correct amount. And then if you didn't, you're going to submit the difference to me. And she goes, well, that should take a couple more days. And I said, it's been over 2 weeks now. I said, you guys haven't issued another payment in the last 2 weeks. Well, we should have this straightened out by the end of this week. She goes, just continue buying more things. I said, I said, I'm not buying any more stuff. I said, I've already bought over half of my list, I said, of things that I claimed. And I said, the other half, I said, I can't buy. I said, because you guys won't pay me the rest that is owed for me to buy them. I said, now I'm just waiting on you guys. She goes, well, the next big ticket item would be that riding lawnmower you have. Yeah, I know. And again, where am I going to put it? Because, okay, yeah, we have a rental house. Yeah, the rental house has a garage. But we have the garage half full of stuff that I've bought and stuff we were able to save from the fire. But the fact is now you guys want me to buy more big ticket items that I don't have room for anymore. Because I bought quite a bit of expense. I still have a couple TVs I have to replace. I only replaced one of the 4 TVs that I claimed. The other 3 I have not replaced because I don't know what Allstate is trying to pull. That's why I told her I wasn't going to buy any more items until they figured this out. She goes, well, you have a year to buy them. And I said, yes, I know. And I said, the fact that you guys told me to buy all these items, and I said, the fact that I did and spent over the amount that what you guys had issued to me, I said, and now I'm out the $2,000. She goes, well, we'll have it straightened out by the end of this week. And it's like, you guys were supposed to have it straightened out by the end of last week. So now they have to audit the inventory list to find out what they screwed up when they paid me out. Because there's 3 items that I've questioned, and one of the items I questioned, she goes, well, we can't do anything about it because you already were paid out for it. And I said, yeah. And I said, I'm out that $100. Well, that's not our problem. It's like, really? Insurance companies, we don't even know how the fire started. We just are taking the word from insurance adjusters and fire marshal. We still don't even know how it started because it's, as of right now, listed undetermined. And it's like, you guys are giving me more of a hassle trying to claim anything. His insurance, they haven't really done anything else on his insurance. They paid for the hotel and they paid for the rental. They're paying for the rental house. But that's about it. They haven't paid out any of the rest of the claim because they said it takes 60 days before they finalize the claim. So it's like, okay, so we're waiting for his insurance as well. So it's like, okay, whatever. Like I said, I am just about done with collections. But I'm going to please like, please subscribe. Talk to you guys soon. Have a good day.